tragedy, of course. But the world keeps turning.
Leave him alone. Men don't feel these things the way we do.
At the end of every recent episode of The Gilded Age, I find myself more and more shocked, and this week was no different. George Russell has been shot, and it looks like the Russell family could be torn apart in more ways than one. This episode was packed with drama, Bertha being pushed out of her own family, secrets being exposed, including Ward McCallister's book, Peggy Scott's painful past, Larry's night at the Haymarket, and Oscar's heartbreaking story of love and loss. With only one episode left this season, big questions are hanging in the air. Will George Russell survive? Will Larry and Marian find their way back to each other? And will Peggy and Dr. Kirkland get their happy ending? Let's break down everything that happened in this week's explosive episode, The Gilded Age, Season 3, Episode 7, Ending Explained. Spoiler alert ahead. Let's start with the most shocking moment, George Russell being shot. I think it's clear who's behind it, Clay. After Clay and George parted ways a few episodes ago, Clay became public enemy number one. George had humiliated him, pushed him out of the business, and thanks to Larry returning from Arizona and securing the copper-rich land, George was once again on top. In the final moments of the episode, someone posing as a delivery person entered George's office and opened fire. George was shot, and while we don't know the extent of his injuries, the implication is serious. Considering George once told Clay to shoot striking workers, it's tragically ironic if Clay got the idea for this attack from George himself. Clay is the only person with enough motive and hatred to pull something like this. Let's just hope George makes it out alive. Another major focus this week was Bertha Russell. She's rapidly losing the control and influence she fought so hard to gain, not just in society, but within her own family. George no longer seems interested in her social ambitions, especially after Ward McCallister's book tainted the reputations of the elite, including his own. George dismissed the whole scandal, showing he doesn't care about status, only business and family. When Bertha tried to tell George and Larry about her upcoming ball, they both ignored her. It was a powerful moment that showed how far she's fallen in their eyes. Ironically, just as Bertha ascends to the top of society with Mrs. Astor stepping back, she's losing everything else. Her discussion about removing the ban on divorced women may be foreshadowing her own future. Oscar's storyline was utterly heartbreaking. After John Adams was hit by a horse and cart last episode, he sadly died, and Oscar was left to grieve in silence. Because of the times they lived in, Oscar couldn't express his love publicly. Even his own mother refused to acknowledge that John was more than just a good friend. But when Oscar inherited the lakeside house from John, the emotional weight finally broke through. The scene where he breaks down was incredibly moving. Marian, Ada, and even Agnes seemed to know the truth, and they didn't judge. Marian's quiet support reminded Oscar he wasn't alone, even if the world around him refused to accept who he truly was. Larry's return home brought tension with Marian, who had left a letter ending their engagement without explanation. At first, her behavior seemed rash, especially since Larry hadn't actually done anything wrong. But Marian explained that years of being let down by men had shaped her into someone who expects betrayal. Still, Larry deserved a chance to explain, and when he finally did, he admitted to lying about where he was, but confirmed he had done nothing else wrong. Later, Jack told Marian that Larry had been with him all night and hadn't done anything shady. That conversation seemed to shift Marian's feelings. Maybe there's still hope for these two. Over in London, something unexpected is happening. The Duke is actually falling in love with Gladys. After George told the Duke he might not be able to provide the promised funds due to financial setbacks, Lady Sarah suggested sending Gladys back to New York. But the Duke responded, "What if I don't want to?" That moment said it all. He's no longer viewing this marriage as a transaction. From the flowers he picked for her, to asking Lady Sarah to move out when they return to the States, he's clearly putting Gladys first. This may finally be the beginning of a genuine love story and an end to Lady Sarah's controlling influence. Now let's talk about Peggy and Dr. Kirkland, because things just got complicated. Mrs. Kirkland has been trying to sabotage their relationship from the start. This week, she found new ammunition after Ernestine revealed that Peggy had a child who passed away. Instead of responding with empathy, Mrs.